Hi everyone, Teams Approvals app is a great way to approve or reject approval steps directly in Microsoft Teams. In this video, I'm going to show you how to post adaptive cards into Teams. Why adaptive cards? This is a fantastic way to customize the form that you want to prompt and display to the end users. In fact, by using an adaptive card, you are able to provide and create additional fields in the form. The card displayed, it will offer many fields that the user can use to provide additional information to a specific step of a process. Then, after that the end user has provided his or her response, Power Automate Flow can go forward with next steps. Okay, let's get started and I'll show you every step. Here I am on my PC. The scenario that I want to talk about is a SharePoint list where I will start having new requests coming from my employee in my organization related to a new asset. Now let me demo immediately the use case, the scenario and the solution that I want to talk about. In this SharePoint list, every user in the organization clicking on the button New Item can request a new asset. Let me type in right now Surface Laptop Studio, for example. There are many information here, but I'm going to fill out just this field, asset tag. Now let me click on Save, and this information is stored in this SharePoint list. Now this will trigger a Power Automate flow, and this Power Automate flow will send to the responsible of this process an approval workflow, an approval step. This will go across Microsoft Teams, and using adaptive card, I'm able to display this approval step. Now let's jump on Microsoft Teams just to see if the approval step is landed. Now let me open Teams. I can see already a notification coming. If I go on chat, the adaptive card comes across the Power Automate bot in Microsoft Teams. Let me click on this chat and here I can see the card coming. I can open the URL just to check the request, the exact request coming from the user. Or I can then define my comments, so why I'm going to approve or reject this request. If I don't write anything inside of this field, there is a validation that display a message to the end user that a value should be defined in this field. Now let me type, for example, OK, and then I'm going to click on the button Approve. This will move to the second steps of this workflow by updating the SharePoint list. Now let me go back on the SharePoint list to check if the value is changed. I can see here in this column status that now the request is approved. I can see my comment and who has approved the request. Now let's start from scratch. I'm going to recreate the entire process with you just to show you every step to follow in order to recreate this kind of scenario. First off, I have to create an adaptive card that I'm going to send to Microsoft Teams. Just to refresh my memory, an adaptive card is a piece of UI that you can develop using JSON, and this piece of UI can be transformed then into a native UI in Microsoft Teams, in Outlook, in Viva Connections, and so on. Now I am on this site. This is the classic site to create adaptive cards, adaptivecards.io. You have to click on the designer in the menu to build new adaptive cards. Then second things to do is to target the platform where you want to display the adaptive card. In my case, in Microsoft Teams, then I'm going to select Microsoft Teams. Here you can even select the theme if you have a dark or light mode. Let's keep the light mode. This is the place where you can write directly JSON if you want, or you can use this designer just to drag and drop the component that you want to use. Now let's click on the button New Card. I'm going to start from scratch. Let me select a blank card and now let's start to build our adaptive card. So first off, I need to add a text block where I'm going to write the title of this adaptive card. So let me select under Elements the text blocks. I'm going to drag and drop this element. Now here in the text field, I'm going to write my text, which is new asset requested, and then I'm going to replace then this part of the text with my variable. Let's move on, and I'm going to add another text field just to remember to the approver who has submitted this request. Then always in the text, I'm going to write something here. And here we go. I added also here my text submitted by, and then I'm going to replace this text with my variable. Now I'm going to add an action set with a link just to give the chance to the approver to check in detail the request, opening the list item in the SharePoint list. Then I'm going to click on add a new action, and then it would be an action open URL. And finally in the URL I'll write the link to the item. Then I'm going to add an input text to give the chance to add comments and to explain why a request has been approved or rejected. So first of all, I'm going to set here a placeholder, comments. Let me add a label, add the reason of your choice below. Then here, very important, is to define an ID underscore comments, because this will give the chance in Power Automate to read this value using this ID. Let me set a validation for this field because this is our required field. And as an error message, I'm going to display the reason of the approval or rejection must be provided. I'm going to add another action set because it's time to add a couple of buttons here. Add an action. This would be the first button to define the approve step. I'm going to select action submit, and this is very important in the ID. This is the approve button, and in the title I'm going to define approve. Now let's add another action step here. Add an action again, action submit. Let me select this one. In the ID I'm going to say reject, and as a title, of course, reject. Okay, my card is completed. Now I can use this adaptive card in my Power Automate flow. So I'm going to copy card payload, and then let's jump on Power Automate. I have here a tab already open. Let me go on my flows, and now I'm going to create a new flow. I'm using here a service user to orchestrate all Power Automate flows in my tenant. Let me select an automated flow, and then here I'm going to type asset request. Then, when an item is created in the SharePoint list, this trigger will start the flow. Now, the site address, enter custom value. This is the URL of my SharePoint site. This is the list asset manager. Let's add a second step here. And now I'm going to search for the Microsoft Teams connector, and I'm going to use this action. Post adaptive card and wait for a response. I'm going to post this adaptive card as the flow bot in Microsoft Teams, and then I'm going to post this in a chat. And in the message, I can write the payload that I created before. Now, let's start to add some information here. New asset requested. So here, I'm going to add a dynamic value, and this would be the title of my SharePoint list item. Then submitted by, we have the requester. So let me jump in the dynamic content panel, and this is created by display name. Then the link, let me search for the link to item, and here we go. I would say that we are pretty good to go. The updated message will be thanks for your response, and the recipient, this is the owner and the responsible for this process, and would be this user, Giuliano. Voila, so this action is completed also. We have added all the information. Let me check again. Reject, approve, approve. We have the link, the submitted by, the title. Okay, it looks good. Now let's simplify the name of this action by tapping adaptive card, for example. I'm going to remove all this text. Adaptive card. Here we go. Then I'm going to save. And now to get the value that we want to get, I'm going to execute this Power Automate flow. How to do that? I'm going directly to the SharePoint list. I am now connected as Party Fernandez, and then I'm going to add a new item. Let's add, for example, something Mac OS laptop, for example. Save. Now this new item is added. I can go back to my Power Automate flow. Let's go back and let's wait that runs. Now this flow has run. I can open my Microsoft Teams client app, and here I have in the Power Automate both this adaptive card that shows up. I have new asset requested macOS laptop submitted by Patty Fernandez. Here I can open the link, and here I have my text where I can write my decision. So let's click on reject. As you can see, the validation is working. The reason for the approval or rejection must be provided. We have no devices at the moment. Let's click on reject. And now this adaptive card is closed. Thanks for your response. This is the message that I configured before. So now that this Power Automate flow is closed, I can open exactly this instance, and we can see the result. In the body of outputs, we can see that I have under data, I have the ID that I specified for the comments field. And then, very important, I have submit action ID. So I can see that I received reject. This means that the user has clicked on the button reject. I'm going to copy this one, submit action ID, because I'm going to use it in edit mode in my flow. Let's add a new step. I want to check the response. And here I'm going to click in the dynamic content panel on the expression. And now let's define my expression. Body, single quote, adaptive card, question mark, square bracket, single quote, and submit action ID. Then I can confirm by clicking on OK. If this is not equal to reject, then I'm going to add another SharePoint action here, and this is the update item. I'm going to target always the same SharePoint site. It doesn't shows up, then I have to click on custom value. I have here in my clipboard already saved. Let me target the asset manager. I have to use the current ID, of course. Then I have to retype the title, which is required. And now it's time to fill out some additional field. So if it's not rejected, is approved. In the comments here, I'm going to add another value. And here I'm going to use the same approach, is body, then adaptive card, question mark, square bracket, single quote. This time is data, question mark, square bracket, single quote, and then I'm going to get comments. Let's click on OK. I'm able to get this value as well. Here is decided by, and here I can do the same, but I have to check again back because I don't remember the value of the response. So let's see if I can save in the meantime. Yes. So let me go back. Let me see the last run to check the response. Adaptive card. So this is the email of the user. So I have to invoke the responder and then the email or user principal. User principal name is even better, is responder. Okay. Let me edit again the flow and let me add this additional information. Update item in decided by claim. I'm going to set enter custom value, expression, body, single quote. This is adaptive card, question mark. Before the user's principal, there was another property. Responder. Let me click on OK. We have defined this as well. In the case the request is approved, the owner of the asset will be who has created this request. Then let me search here in the dynamic content panel, created by claims, because this one would be the owner of the new asset. Differently, what I can do here is copy this in the clipboard. Let me click on my clipboard and let me add this action. We have the ID, the title, but except for the status value, which would be rejected. Okay, I retyped basically the value in the decided by claim, user principal name of the responder. And let me save now this flow. So we are good to go and to test this workflow. Let me open this browser instance where I am logged as Patty Fernandez, and let me create and submit a new request. So I want to have right now an Asus laptop. I'm going to submit this request, save. This new request is submitted. Now let's wait for the Power Automate flow. Here I have the Windows notification. Power Automate sent a card. I have here my card, new asset requested as laptop, submitted by Patty Fernandez. Here I can open the list item. Here I am, I have the request submitted from the user. Let me open Microsoft Teams again. Here I can provide my comments. It looks good. And then I'm going to select approve. Now this request is approved. Let me open again the browser as a Patty Fernandez, and I can see that the list item has been updated. I have the status approved and it looks good in the comment. If you want to involve more approvers, what you can do, opening again Power Automate, what you can do here is targeting a channel where you can involve more people in a team, for example. To do that, I'm going to change here this action, adaptive card, post as flowbot, and here post as I'm going to target channel, and this the card would be the same basically, and then I can now target a team in Microsoft Teams, which is global HR, and the channel would be general. If you want to restrict to a few people this approval step, you can also target another channel where you have different membership. This could be a private channel, for example. But let's target general, or I can target another team where I have really 2 or 3 people inside. But this just to give you another perspective and another scenario that you have. Let me click now on save. And as a end user, now I'm going to add another item in this list. And this time would be a Xiaomi laptop. Let's click on save. A new item has been added and created. Let's wait for the adaptive card in Microsoft Teams. Let me go in Microsoft Teams, clicking on Teams, and in the general channel here I can see if something is coming. Not yet. Now I have this adaptive card, new asset requested, Xiaomi laptop, Patti Fernandez. I can add the comment here. As a member of this team, now I can provide my decision. Okay, and then on approve. And here we go. We have the same user experience, but we can target more approvers, for example. Or you can build more complex scenario in going on a Power Automate and adding another action like that. So you can build several levels of approval. Just to give you the full overview of the user experience in Microsoft Teams, even in the mobile version of Microsoft Teams, I'm going to change something here. I'm going to target again the chat. Thanks for your response. And here I'm going to target another user that I have in my Teams mobile app. So I can click on save, and then as a Patti Fernandez, I can create another item in this list. Let's add Lenovo laptop, for example. Let's click on save. And now let me open the mobile version of Teams. I am now on Teams mobile on my Android device. I am logged as Diego Siciliani. I have a new notification coming in chat. And here I have a Power Automate card just received. So as you can see here, I have new asset requested, Lenovo laptop submitted by Patti Fernandez. Here I can open the request. I can add something in the comments here, no longer available. And then I can tap on reject. Now the adaptive card is updated, and this is the user experience on the Teams mobile app. Alright, we have seen in this video tutorial how to post adaptive cards using Power Automate into Microsoft Teams. If you enjoyed this video, as always, please consider to subscribe, like, comment. I hope to see you next time.